So should be recording now. Okay, so think of this as playing chess. I'm talking to like whatever the video is gonna be. Think of this as playing chess. This is assuming both teams have equal power. Obviously, you have some teams that want to 1-3-1 and some teams that want to 1-4-0, whatever the case might be. This is just saying everyone's even in gold, and it's just gonna be an idea of the best play that a team could do. The best play could also be the hardest one to reach, but striving for the best play will generally give you the best advantages, and if you end up putting the best play, you will end up hard winning. You guys will all remember when what was the team, Premier, they did the dragon trick on us right after I showed us. They got this, they got this, they got this, and then they cheesed the goon over here, and then they pulled, what was that, like 3 to 4k ahead. That's what
play.
Huh?
On one play.
On one play, exactly, while we were getting dragon. That's what the best play will look like. If it's obviously really hard to pull off, in that case we're completely oblivious to what it is. That is why it's also important to show it. So this is the 1-3-1 because that's a fun one. This is what generally will look like. You have mid laners matching each other, support here, AD here, mid, blah 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 blah. This is the very standard 1-3-1. We'll assume this turret's out, this turret's out. Now we'll say like both teams want to 1-3-1. But obviously if one of the teams is losing, then, or like if they are down in gold, then it's a lot harder. What is the goal of 1-3-1? Well, you want obviously your side laners to be able to create pressure, to make their support jungle rotate to whichever side they're getting pressure. And while they rotate that, you want to be safe so your team could get other objectives. That's essentially what it does. It makes, okay, their mid laners, they cannot deal with our mid laner, so now they have to send someone here. Maybe they send just, I don't fucking know, maybe they just send their jungler. And now we could create space on mid lane. That's like the very basic 1-3-1. Now, while talking about 1-3-1, there's one thing that's really important to notice. It's the way turrets affect the team defense. So we said that these two are not here, right? So then how can the enemy team defend? They can defend something like this, right? It's kind of like a V back formation. Going up here is kind of dangerous. Going all the way up here, it's dangerous as well. So they could run like this. Now, say the mid turret is gone. This is probably the best turret in the game besides this or this. Depending on if you're playing for Elder, then this one is the better. If you're playing for Baron, then this one is the better one. Just because they create more pressure. Obviously, if you take the inhibit, it's even better. If you take the mid turret, then the enemy team, they cannot defend in that V shape. They have to defend like this, which means you could grab their camps, right? So these are pretty much your camps depending on whichever side you want to put all your pressure. It's pretty simple, right, so far?
Yes, Masa.
Okay, so the very first purpose of any 1-3-1, it's to unlock this turret for that exact reason. So how do you unlock it? Depending on whichever side is strong, you could either rotate them towards mid while the enemy is answering. So say if you have Let me think of a good side lane. Maybe you have Echo. After he shoves, while the enemy mid laner is answering the wave, right? Because you'll not be able to contest the wave. Echo with their support and jungle could roam inside here. You could either get far vision, or you could look to maybe dive if you're really that far ahead. But if you're not far ahead, you generally, this is the ideal step. You get in, you place a ward, and then you manage to catch the wave over here. Your support and jungle could still be in here. Your ADC obviously is hugging this side. That's like the very standard way to look at it. Now, why is it important to have this vision here? Because we said that they could play like this, right? They could still walk through here. But if you have those two vision wards and then they cannot clear them, now they have to run like this to help each other, vice versa, right? You could do a few things. Obviously depends on who's their clearer. So maybe they have Anivia, maybe they have Sivir, maybe they have whomever. You could do a few things. This is generally the first step. You get the vision in. If you're playing from behind, we'll look over it after. Very simple. It's you just look to out-rotate them or to outnumber them, zone their guy, maybe look for a pick. That's the general idea. Because what will happen is once you shove the wave and then you disappear, after these wards are placed, their player has a choice. Does he sit under this turret while the ADC it's Mia and risk maybe getting dove because they don't have that vision? Or does he wait to see people show up? Right? So then these people will have to check in. If he shows to answer and you guys decide, okay, we're not gonna go for him, you could go full on mid. Maybe you look to make a play with your other side. That generally, if it's a 1-3-1 and it's happening and you guys are in advantage, your top laner, even be it in a tank v tank, will have the prio to walk in. And because you'll have numbers, they'll have to be like very wary. So then you can unlock the mid turret. The other way, it's obviously you can rotate everyone towards top. This is the one that we said. If they have like the right answer, if our top laner is really smurf, he can set up either a slow push or a hard push, depending on how fast he wants to rotate. Run like this. Their top laner has to run like this. And because we have more turrets than them, this wave will still push this wave. It doesn't matter if he will stay and clear it first. It makes sense, right?
Yes, Master.
Please don't call me master. Now, after mid turret is taken, it's a lot easier to take it now when you have like Herald into play and you get to stop the lanes like prior to 15-16 minutes maybe. Once the mid turret is taken, now they have to play like this. This is what I noticed in the scrim today was really hard for us to pull. We had a losing top lane matchup on Shen versus Mordekaiser, so it's hard for him. Now, our mid laner was really fed, so he could easily get a bunch of people to come towards him. They need more than one person to handle him. Ari cannot sit and match him because she loses. I forgot what ADC we're playing. It doesn't really matter, I guess, at this point. If you do this 1-3-1, you obviously have Shen here, right? So you don't really care to put vision for him unless we're going for dragon. You could do the same words, maybe even like pink. And the mid lane, like in that specific case, it was like giga ahead. So it doesn't necessarily need to be on every wave. You could just one-side the wave and then disappear in here and help the rest of us to get all this vision in. Because once this vision in, both carries, so like mid and AD carry, will be safe to step over here. Like really aggressively clear the wave instead to wait for it to like reach the midpoint or like here. The faster you get to clear the wave, the more time you'll have to roam around. Because they're their carries will have to wait for the wave to arrive, and in that time you have a bunch of choices. You could look at Baron, you could maybe look to dive them, you could maybe set up a TP play, maybe you set up like a hard dive on top, anything like that, right? But we weren't doing this. It doesn't matter that Shen is losing, or like if you get in a position where your top laner is losing, it doesn't really matter, because all he has to do is just wait for you guys to get in position, right? Only thing he has to do is match. He does not need to fight, he does not need to do anything, he can sit under turret and clear. If their top laner will almost never walk this far up, right? Unless they know 100% that we're in here. But after we kill the next wave, he'll have to walk back as well. Tank v tank or Mordekaiser versus Shen or any kind of matchup like that you do not have pressure to take the turret, this guy doesn't want to be here. He wants to clear the wave and run back. So that's when it's important to keep our side laner in the side lane rather than group him, or to send the other people to him, because this is the purpose of this guy. He wants to fight. Yeah, so if we don't get to set up the vision first, what can the enemy do while we're like shoving the waves really aggressively on both sides? They can look for picks. If you do not know where the enemy is, the right answer is not to call for your top or for your support or for whomever to answer you right there, because you get back to stage 1. So you answer, maybe they answer as well, you break out a team fight. If there's no Baron, say their Baron isn't spawned yet, it's pre-20 minutes, what does this fight get you? They can also just deny the fight, because they are like closer to the turret. So unless they giga commit, they will not commit, how to put it? They'll obviously not commit if they see all 4 of you here, right? They'll only commit if they see only one person. If you guys want to set up a trap and then have everyone just suddenly appear there, that's fine. But we're assuming they are the ones looking for a catch. Right answer is to walk back. Because they walk like this, well, now we have all the prior here. These 3 people do not need to like necessarily answer there. They can leave a word here, and then we're chilling. All these people have to put in the legwork to come back here. This guy will have to run to top. In the meantime that he runs to top, the wave crashes. Now we create number superiority mid, right? It's essentially just 1-3-1. It's a lot about coordinating your waves and when we show in vision. If we're showing vision at a bad time, we could get caught. If you're showing vision too soon, when our, or like, not if you're showing vision, if we push too far before pressure is created in the other lanes, we could get caught. Same vice versa. Maybe they have a, I don't know, maybe their top lane doesn't have TP. These 3 people could probably look for you. Well, it's fine to consciously think that we could take this. The reward of maybe killing, or like maybe trading 1 for 1. Say we trade jungle for top. Now this guy has a lot of prio. We'll have to answer him somehow. Maybe we don't end up getting mid because our people will try to answer here. It's a lot of like decision making that needs to be done really quickly and to be done at the right time. If for whatever reason someone's getting caught and like say it's on the other side, doesn't really matter which side. What do you think is the right answer, Bravo and Cruz? What do you guys want to tell us? If one of the side lanes is getting caught, there's no, let's say there's no this, there's no that.
We're in the 1-3-1, and
Yeah.
our side lane's getting caught.
One of the sides. Let's say the top
Let's
side.
say-
Doesn't really matter which one.
Just
Let's
pick
say the
one,
top.
and
Let's say the
both
top.
objectives are down.
Yeah. There's just the inner turrets left, or like, sorry, these 3 turrets, where their icons are.
Gotcha.
Oh.
Well, you have a numbers advantage in mid, so if you have the wave, you can probably just hit mid, maybe even dive, and trade essentially your mid laner for their AD carry in this situation. Probably brick a tower.
Yeah.
It's a pretty easy answer.
Yeah, it's as
It's just
simple
win
as
by
that.
force.
It's very simple. It's they're looking for numbers play somewhere. We're doing a numbers play elsewhere. Say you cannot dive mid, you could. Your top lane should be conscious of what's happening there, or say if it's mid laner here, to create a slow push back in. So that way, if your team doesn't get to dive their ADC, or you just get maybe the turret to like, I don't know, maybe you get like 1000 damage on it, you all could rotate bot. And now they are again the ones that need to run around. If they didn't kill the mid, well, now he's gonna be the one creating pressure here. And maybe we just unlock this turret. It's just as simple. It's like literally you just looking to create vision so you could see the pressure points that they'll look to send people. Maybe they'll send it bottom. You just mirror whatever the fuck just happened. It's just the way to play the 1-3-1. The most important thing is just when we create pressure on a side, it's mostly the sides. The mid lane is a lot easier because it's a shorter lane. You gotta beware. If the enemy knows they're in a losing 1-3-1, their goal is to catch you before you got to their turret. On whichever side. Their goal will be to catch you before you got to their turret. Because if you got to their turret and then your other side is doing the exact same thing, they are just in a straight up losing position. That's generally what the enemy answer will be.
Because if you crash the waves on both sides at the same time, then your 3-man has like lots of options.
And even if you crash it, it doesn't necessarily matter that you crash them as much. It matters where you see the people. Like if you do not see any of them, like say top lane just got to crash this wave, and mid got as well. But jungle, ADC, and support are mid, and then we do not see anyone. Well, you two need to be really safe. Say like we didn't get to position yet for wards or whatever. You could walk back, you could take a step back, get your jungle, get your support back to step 1, put your wards down. Right? That's generally always going to be the step 1. Shove wave into push vision. Once you push vision, you're pretty much seeing whatever the enemy is trying to do. Right? And you want to shove the wave first because after you shove the wave, they'll need someone to answer it. So then you could create numbers advantage. Say you do top first, or you decide that your top laner is your strong point. So then you have 4 people here. After ADC shove wave, this guy is answering wave, this guy is answering wave. Even if you are like not timing them properly, like say ADC, it's this guy doesn't have yet a wave, so he's still up. This guy has a wave. If you see them obviously walk past the wave and into the jungle, you know something is up. The wave also act like a vision, like a just a word in that case. But yeah, let's say that's the 1-3-1. You guys want to add stuff to it?
Not really.
I think that's a pretty solid standard coverage.
Yeah.
Wouldn't want to go too much more into detail unless people have questions that we would
What-
answer afterwards.
Yeah, we could look at it's either if like anyone else will have comments what the video is uploaded, or if when we watch the game we'll be able to like the actual games we'll give like
Have
actual
examples.
feedback. Yeah, exactly. Examples how to react to specific things that the enemy is doing.
But I think this is a very solid framework. And
Yeah. If you're in a losing 1-3-1, I already kind of give the answer. It's one really good word. It's in the middle. You could force a sweeper out of jungle or support. Generally, we have a sweeper. If they do not see it, then you'll know which side they'll be pushing for vision, right? So that gives everyone else knowledge of, okay, we're free to walk maybe like this. You know, that's generally it. That's like the one of the easier counters. You could also walk to leave a word very far in your respective lanes if you still have your yellow words. The other thing was if you want to look to just like counter. Wait 1 sec. Okay. The other thing was if you want, what was I saying? Oh yeah. If you know there's the 1-1 that's about to happen, and then maybe the enemy is just off the reset, so everyone's still like walking towards their lanes, you could set up kind of like a cheese bush or a trap. If you if this guy walks up, maybe even you don't kill him, but then you manage to answer back mid lane. Now this guy will be completely off tempo with the rest of the map. If he happens to not have TP up, then you're playing 5v4. You could look to maybe pressure something else. Maybe you could look to walk like this, get some vision in. That's when it becomes like more comp specific. Like, okay, we disrupted we disrupted one of their players from exactly what they want to do. And now if they decide that, okay, we're just gonna walk in here. Now top could be walking around the side, essentially creating like mid superiority, pushing these people off. The mid laner in this case will have to play safe, and then this. What this does, it doesn't do, like, it obviously doesn't stop the enemy from resetting back to the 1-1, but if you get a kill, it could maybe unlock you mid turret, it could maybe unlock you the side turret, depending on how well the answer of the enemy is. What it does do, really important, is it gives you all your jungle on whichever side you pulled it. So that's also gold that you could get, maybe crab, whatever, and maybe like the vision on this side of the map, so you can like put vision in here. If a dragon is coming soon, maybe you could, like, in maybe, I don't know, let's say 2 minutes, by the time this guy was dead, you can maybe create vision, so that this way, although you'll be the team that's in the back foot, you have the initiative on the dragon. Or you could set it up like this, even better, whatever. That's the idea. 1-4. This is a lot easier to play. Generally, the 1-4s will still start as a 1-3-1. The only difference. Huh?
No, for the card, because they're coming again tomorrow at 8:30. Do you wanna park it now?
At 8:30?
In the morning.
Okay. One 4-0. Doesn't really matter which side is happening. We could say we'll have the split pusher as a mid laner in this case. So say we got the Kali or Aurelia for this example, and then maybe you have Maokai. And we do not want to 1-3-1 because maybe they have a really good split pusher. Maybe they have Camille, right? So then you want to like not have Maokai on that side. Generally, they will all start as a 1-3-1. The main reason is because you obviously want to get the wave shoved in. Again, the first question is how do you get rid of this turret after both side turrets are taken out? You could pretty much do the exact same thing as before. You could get a shove. Even if you decide that, okay, we're gonna consciously give maybe bot turret so we could unlock mid turret, that could generally be like a good answer. Or the best answer in that case, because this turret will have a lot more value than this turret. There's a few ways that it could happen. Generally the 140 will happen on the other side. Sorry, the split pusher will happen on the other side of the objective. So say we're gonna decide dragon is up is the objective that is the closest objective that is coming, or maybe all the turrets are up, or sorry, like all like this are down. Let's say this and this are down, and then maybe this turret is also down from a herald play or whatever. And now you want to unlock these two. So then you'll send a person that could either kill the turrets or have the priority on that lane. So you could set up the vision in here. Generally, you'd want, let's say we're looking to rotate towards the top side, and we're having, let's say, top laners that just want to stay back. That will generally happen a lot more. Both mid laners or ADC, doesn't really matter. Say if you have like a Zoe mid, she generally wants to sit mid, so in that case the ADC will go to rebounce the wave, so it pushes. If the wave is even, it doesn't really matter that much. If you guys are the ones ahead, or like if the blue team in this case is the one ahead, you want to bounce this wave, then walk in, pretty much as everyone. Get vision in, walk in, bounce the next one, and now you, all as 4 people will decide where you want to go. Do you want to go top? Do you want to go mid? Or do you want to look at Baron? Whatever the case might be. It's essentially very similar to the 1-3-1. The main difference is that obviously you are playing as a core 4, because let's say you have Zoe. Like, it makes no sense to have Zoe with whatever other mid laner fight each other on the side lane. They're really like vulnerable to being caught. It doesn't make sense to have an AD carry answer whatever other mid laner on top, or AD carry with AD carry is even worse. And then you just want to rotate around the vision. Generally the 1-4, it's obviously, I mean, it's not obvious. It's sometimes harder to get the turrets if you're playing against Anivia or Sivir or whatever the case it is. In that case, you'd want to do what you're doing in the previous example. You want to make them move. Say if they have Anivia mid, and then, or whatever like generic what ADC or mid lane that has like really good wave clear, or you just don't have an ADC that could like touch the turret, or a mid laner that could actually touch the turret. Let's say you have trying to think of a meta example. Maybe you have Ashe and then they have something like a Zerat, or
An example from their series that they played is they flexed Sivir into bottom, and Sivir has crazy wave clear.
Yeah, so say the Sivir was on the blue team in this case, right? She's really bad at taking turrets, but she has wave clear, right? So then you wouldn't necessarily want Sivir there. You want her people to create pressure around, so she cannot get be bullied. You could create it through here. You could create it through the top rotating. Generally, the 1-4-0 turns into a 5 people, because it will happen in comps like where you have stuff like Maokai top and maybe like Azir mid, like something that we actually play. So it doesn't make sense to keep Maokai away from the team, because his best atu it's playing with the team. So you just, if you're the ones ahead, you obviously just want to grab your top laner and rotate it here while mid it's answering, and their top laner will, if you do it at a good time, you obviously need to time when your top laner is leaving, so you do not just give free turret and free pressure. you're essentially just looking for force. You could have like Maokai come in, Maokai ult people off the turret, so you unlock turret. Once you unlock that turret, maybe you look top and so on and so forth. Oh Jesus. Now the other thing, it's after you bounce wave, you push vision. You can look for easy barons as well. The 1-4-0 comms generally do objectives a lot faster than the other ones. So say like if you have obviously Azir instead of Irelia, do Baron a lot faster. If you pretty much we'll just assume ADC just perma shoves. Bounce wave, they send someone to answer, you all push in for vision. This is like very standard. This is like generally what should happen pretty much every game, regardless of like comps. The thing that happened after, it's what is more depending. Like say you have the people at turrets, because you both have two good split pushers, and you're not looking to group into a side. You're looking to isolate these two, where in this case you are looking to grab both your side laners to group into mid. Or the other option, you're looking to get your tank to come mid after he shoves a wave, while you outnumber on the top, because you'll have all this vision. So then the enemy has to rotate like this. You have your tank over here, or like your top laner, and then their top laner will need to answer here, because everyone needs to go up there. Maybe this wave gets in a stalemate, doesn't really matter. This general like simple rotations that you're looking to do. You could also just bring if you decide you are strong enough to dive, maybe you have Shen, you have Hecarim. After you shove wave, you can look instantly for a dive, and then you have your top lane obviously like ult into Hecarim. These are like comps what they want to do. Like obviously you want to start with the Shen on the side. This will be a 1-4-0. But generally the 1-4-0 will end up in like a 5-0, or look to do a play around their core 4, right? Let's just look at some comp. We had the sorry, I'm just trying to find this real quick. Okay, let's use an example where Zach was also here. We played Zillion, Jesus, right? Okay, so we'll use like this example, right? So say, like when you look at this comp, they want to 1-4-0. That's really simple, right? Like you have these two ADCs that play at the pretty high range. What does the enemy want to do? They want to 1-3-1. They have two really good side laners that win. They're like, well, Zillion cannot like match Silas in the side, and then you have this guy that can match him, but because you have this other winning side, you'll end up like stretching the enemy team like far, and then you'll be left with like this core 3. So like best situation for AKM, obviously I don't know what the fuck happened this game, would be to like 1-3-1 you into leaving these 3 people vulnerable to like roams from the top from the Silas, because he should be like the one ahead. Yeah. Now this was okay, so that was like the 1-4-0. That's like generally how it happened. It'll come up with a lot more examples. That's like the very basic idea of how it's supposed to go. Now for the Drake thing, where they discussed that dragon play, the superior position, it's mid lane, or like mid side, for the exact reason that happened against us. One, 2, 3. All the camps are gone. The other thing that happens when this exact thing happened is what happened to us. Say the blue team decides to run in mid. What's the good answer from the red team? You obviously need to leave someone to finish the dragon. If you cannot do the dragon, you just have to dip from it. These three need to run instantly mid. Top needs to recall. After if like this will all happen after this turret is gone, right? Like these three already need to run like this. Top needs to recall. And then depending on what the enemy does, like say they're like obviously they have the choice. After they get the first turret, they could run in here. Right? Not only does this make their jungler have to like chase the enemy jungler have to like chase them around the map, but it gives them the top side, and then the enemy could just answer with this, right? Like say this could be a valid answer, but now you could get flanked. So generally what the blue team will do, they'll kind of sit in the red jungle, maybe have their mid recall so you could come back to mid. ADC or top laner will run top to shove this in, and then support and jungle will generally just chill in the jungle. That's like what they want to do. If they decide they don't want to go for top, or they'll just not chill in there and they'll come mid. Maybe with ADC, mid reset, catch bot, whatever the case might be, top run top, right? Everything starts in a 1v1 where someone answers waves. It's not a bad thing to also have the ADC answer top, or something like this, you know. But we're saying this was to say why the red team could push mid, but then if they get answered, they need to run towards the bot side, and they need to make sure they are able to walk back, right? So maybe their top laner is here, and this is like threatening or whatever. That's what I said. After the top resets, depends what the blue team does. If they disappear, this is your play. You walk and you hug this top side. If this turret is still up, you might not want to pass your second turret. You might just want to wait, because what the enemy will do after they take that, if they do not need to reset, mid will probably hug around mid, and these people will do something like this. Now, what's the correct play from the red side? Well, we already said that they needed to walk like this. Once the jungle finishes, if we saw everyone walk through here, the jungle doesn't need to take the long loop. These people needed to take the loop so they could defend this turret, but now everyone went up, so the jungle could just come like this. Once you get here, obviously step number 1, kill the wave and have it rebounds. If you see that nobody's answering the wave in mid, that's generally a warning sign. So even if just one player answers this wave and you have no vision in the top side, you still need to wait for whatever happens. If nobody's answering that wave, top lane you never walk past this point, and you forward just shove. Maybe even top runs like here, so he could prepare to run towards mid. Because they're obviously all eyeing this turret if nobody answers, or they're all recalled, but you do not know, so you have to assume the worst generally. If you know they recalled, well, then you could just walk, right? But you have to assume the worst, because you die, turret gone, now mid or ADC will generally have to go answer here, and now all 5 could decide, okay, we're gonna ARAM mid again. Or they could maybe decide, okay, we're gonna sit in here, see how many people you send top, like say top lane is dead. Maybe you send 2, but we have 5. Which side is easier to dive? ADC support or mid jungle? If you send like this, well, well, you know. Maybe they don't dive. Maybe they just walk, kill wave, and then reset. But then it's again a winning trade. Your team cannot just shove mid at that point, because you'll have 4 versus 5. So sure, you get this, they get this, they get this. Maybe even top inhibitor it by the time whatever happens. So what you need to do You hug here. If one person shows mid to answer the wave, what's the name of it? Support and jungle, generally, and mid as well. You want to walk through here. Whoever's the tankiest needs to face check this. Could face check this for a word. So generally you'd want to like go here, word. Make sure nobody's like, oh shit. You don't even necessarily have to word, like say if you have Orianna, obviously if you have Ashe, you just throw a hawk shot this way. But if you have stuff like Orianna, Azir that could check bushes that you really think they should not be in, you could check them. So like this one, it's easy to check with Azir, Soldier, Orianna ball. This one it's a lot harder because you can only do it at the edge. But you essentially want to like check box the bushes to make sure your top laner will be safe to walk all the way up there. If you manage to check box like this, you don't really care about this. Does that do anything to you? No. Remember what we said when if this turret is not here, then this is how a team defends. Right? It's like whatever V might be. This area, it's big danger zone because up until like here, your top laner could walk like this, right? So you're essentially pinching. You're pinching this corner, you're pinching this corner. So if they're in there, you're coming from two directions at them. So it's a lot strategically, it's just like more easy for a team to face check these two bushes. From here on, you're coming just from like one position. If you come like this and this, sure, but this bush doesn't do anything to you because they could still be in here. And if you walk like this, well, now you're the one pinched. Right? There's a lot of like just the idea of why you should check from where you should check. That's pretty much the dragon. So now the Baron. That's the fun Baron.
Okay.
And then done. What? How long is this already? Oh shit, this is 40 minutes. Do you think people fall asleep during this? Maybe.
Come on, if you want to win PRL, you better watch it.
Okay. If I wanted to, oh yeah, so top or Baron. Now this could apply for both Elder and Baron. Yo, Cruiser, as Bravo already does, but what side it's easier to defend Baron from?
That's easier to defend Baron from, like you mean like red or blue?
Yeah.
To defend.
Like
blue
say
side?
the enemy is doing Baron.
Yeah.
What side it's easier to essentially face check around through?
I think red side.
Okay, so if the enemy is doing this, you say, sorry. So if the enemy started Baron, how would you check it from red side? I guess it depends on champions, right? But you have a few answers. Could go like this.
Yeah.
Could go like this. Go like this. Whatever the case might be. You could also go through mid. If you just want to like get a vision and like poke them out, wherever the case might be, depending on comps.
Yeah.
So it is a lot easier to defend it from red side, but is it easier to do it from red side?
No.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So vice versa applies to Elder and Dragon. It's a lot easier to face check from the red side, because you have like a lot more ways around. How do you call it? like checking around. Like say if you're a blue side, I'm gonna move this just so it's like clear. If you're a blue side, where can you go to towards Baron to check if they're doing it? Well, this looks really suicidal. This could be fine just to get a ward over, but nothing more. This also looks really suicidal. So the only real answer is mid or top. But top is really hard. You're really out of position because then the enemy just runs mid.
Yeah.
So naturally, when you're red side, Baron, it's a lot easier to do. If
Easier
you're
to do on red side.
yeah, I know it sounds bizarre. It's how to put it. There's like two things to it. It's a lot, maybe not easier to do is the right word, but it's a lot easier to set up. So you only realistically need 2 words, right? You could say though you also only realistically need 2 words here, but then the enemy could come like this, right? The enemy can also come like this, but this doesn't do much. Sure, you could get a word over here. That's it. The thing that the thing that will generally happen is that when you got these 2 words over here, it's a lot easier for the enemy to come around and clear them, right? A whole lot easier. We'll like this word to like that. These 2 words are about at the same distance from the Baron pit, more or less. But one of them, it's a whole lot easier to clear. So is this one. You could come like this. You could come like this. But these 2 words are a whole lot harder to clear. You can come through here, sure, if you have someone want to suicide through this like no man's land or whatever thing, because then the enemy could just sit in here and they catch you. Because what would teams generally do when they're looking to do Baron? Say the red team is doing shove, disappear, shove, disappear, and now it's up to the enemy to decide how they're gonna check this. If mid had to answer there, or they're like this, where are these people gonna check through? They're only 4, their mid needs to run around. Maybe they could slowly check through here, but they have to do it really cautiously. So it takes a lot more time for people on blue side to safely check and walk all the way to Baron. Obviously the easy answer is just walk through mid. But red side has a lot of an easier time setting this up.
I see. I see it now.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
The other thing is that I'm not gonna keep repeating how to get these words. You essentially just shove side and then you push in for vision while the enemy is answering waves. That's like the bread and butter on how to get the words down. And then how to defend them, you just clear a bit more aggressively. These 2 words are also a lot easier for the red side to get in than for the blue side to get over here. Right? Because red side could shove wave, walk in here, say someone's already, like say the jungle is here, drop a word. That's it. Same thing. Walk in here, drop a word. Simple. Here you have to walk. Oh, there's one bush here. Maybe there's this big ass circle. People that could be over here that you don't know. Same thing if you want to walk all the way there. You need more of a group to do it. All these things apply to like dragon as well. Like blue side has a lot easier time to face check into elder or into soul dragon. It's a lot easier. Like try to think when the enemy had soul point and then you're red side and you have to run here. You cannot, and you're already losing. You don't want to run to there. You want to like maybe like this, or what you guys were trying to do was to run like this, because these 2 are like really suicidal. They're really tight and the enemy could just hold you in that position. But yeah, so for the Baron, it's I guess I already like explained it. It's you want to get to shove in. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to. I'm sorry. If you're red side, you have a lot easier ways to check around. You essentially what the purpose of this like section is just to make sure everyone will be on the same page on how to face check Baron.
Yeah.
You guys want to check this? You need to walk through here and here. A lot safer to check this. Same thing with this one. Through here, in here. Even through here, right? If you're blue side, essentially every time Baron's it's in question, unless you really hard defended these positions, you pretty much always have to resort back to group mid into run in here. That's literally just the safest bet. You can also run like this, right? Like you can send people kind of like both ways. So you get a bit more space rather than enemy locking you over here. They have to step a bit back because they could get flanked. Right? While for red side, you could do, as we said, a bunch of different ways. Besides like, get here, and now it's up to you. Okay, we go here, we put a word. The enemy doesn't really have that answer. We said that you could word here if you come like this. But besides that, they have to like walk all the way almost in to get a word in. But yeah, I think that's it. Do you guys had anything to add, Bravo Cruiser?
No, I think that was very detailed.
I hope it was not too snooze fest. Like it's.
I mean, I think a helpful thing will be to sort of break it down into sections with timestamps. Is what
I have no
think
idea how
Cruiser
to do
suggested
that.
to me.
Yeah, I have no idea how to do that, but
I mean, once you post the video, like I'll rewatch it and
Okay.
I'll break out like the major concepts that way because
Yeah.
it's like headers, right?
okay.
Of an essay.
I
So
can
people
do
will
it
be able to
right
jump
now.
through.
I'm gonna stop
Yeah.
the